Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to discuss the topic related to fidelity, loyalty in a relationship, as well as the importance of sex in a relationship, and what it means in the modern world to actually be loyal, and what importance people should be placing in sex in their relationship as a important core factor of a healthy relationship. Because if you look at media, or if we look at porn, or if we look at the past history of humanity, without sex apparently the world hasn't revolved in man woman's relationship. Sex has been the key factor that has caused men and women to be dependent on each other, to be reliant on each other, and it had seemed to be the thing that causes men and women to stay together with each other. But if you have read the Bible, that was not the original intent of God. So, the way in which I interpret the Bible, and I'm not a theologian of Christianity, neither and am I really very steeped in Christianity to know all the details about all Christian teachings. I have only in recent few years started listening to teachings of Jesus Christ. And in the past, when I was a child, at that time, while watching movies about Christ, I would pick up certain themes from Christianity from those movies or series that I used to watch. But despite that, for me, introduction to Christianity is a new thing. So I'm interpreting it based on my life experiences, what I am saying in this video, and partly based on what I understand about Christianity from what I have learned so far about Christianity. So, in the Bible, or in the story of Genesis, when the serpent is tempting Eve with eating from the forbidden tree's fruit, the thing that was forbidden in the Bible at that point of time was actually the knowledge of sex, possibly, as well as knowledge of good and evil. So, which is the knowledge that Eve got once she ate the fruit, and when she enticed Adam also to eat the fruit, they both fell from grace. And the reason why they fell from grace, according to me, is not because they ate the fruits that were forbidden by God. Partly that is the reason that most of us interpret as the reason why they have fallen from grace. Some people also consider the fact that the women entice the man into falling from grace, and that perception is believed to be held by many humanity, where men seem to ascribe the blame for disloyalty on women. And while it is partly true that it's the feminine energy that can entice someone into manipulate, it's the feminine aspect of humanity that when a toxic feminine energy is present in a man or a woman, the toxic feminine energy leads to manipulation in our thought processes, in our energy, in our choices. And when manipulation is present in our thought processes and energy and choices, the serpent of evil that is spoken about in the Bible, that serpent of evil is actually at that time ruling our life. And that serpent that is ruling our life is essentially our lower vibrational kundalini energy, because kundalini energy is also thought to be like a serpentine energy, and it's two opposite serpentine energy that flows as a channel in our back, from our base of the spine to the top of our crown chakra. And that kundalini energy, when in balance, when in alignment with God, at that time it is not the serpent of evil. It is just a energy that is flowing through us, that is in connection with God's guidance, or God's path for our life. that can happen to us when our energy in our body is balanced, when our sympathetic and parasympathetic system is balanced, when our masculine and feminine energy is balanced. At that point of time, we are aligned with God. But the moment our masculine and feminine energy is not balanced, or the moment when we have more of the toxic feminine energy present in us, that is when we are more prone to get tempted, like how the serpent literally tempts Eve into eating from the fruit or forbidden tree. The same way, there are many things that are forbidden by humans to know at a particular point of time they are existing on earth. So if I'm existing on earth in this century, there are certain things I'm supposed to know about earthly living, related to living life on earth at this point of time on earth. And there are certain things I'm not meant to know regarding life on possibly 2 centuries later's life journey on earth, because that's something that is meant to occur in the future. And for my own good, if I am not ready to learn that life lesson, it is important for me to not learn that lesson. For example, a very simple thing, when a child is born, when a baby is born, is the baby supposed to know that it is supposed to do some future work in 20-30 years of life? Is the baby supposed to know that it is supposed to become a doctor in 20 years or 30 years? Someone is supposed to become a teacher in 30 years, 40 years. Someone is supposed to be a homemaker. So everyone, when we are born, we don't know what we are going to be when we grow up as an adult, right? And that mystery is left to us. Why? Because our life's journey is the thing that will shape us into becoming who we want to be. Our attunement with God is also a part of our life journey that will determine if we want to take the path that God wants to take us towards, or do we want to take the path that our free will is wanting us to take us towards. Because we do have a choice of free will, and sometimes our free will will clash with the divine will. And at the point of time when our free will is clashing with the divine will, it is our choice. God has left that choice to us, to humans, that whether they want to go towards the path of divine will, whether they want to let go, just move towards the path of their free will, right? So it was actually Adam and Eve's free will that caused them to eat from the forbidden fruit. So God does allow them to eat from that tree. He said, do not eat from the tree. That is the guidance given by God. But if you do not follow God's will and instead decide to execute your own free will and eat from the fruit from that tree, it wasn't as if eating from that tree caused is the thing that is not allowed. Because if it was not allowed, you might have been struck down and you might have died, right? So it was allowed. God does allow you the free will to get tempted by the devil as well. But while you are getting tempted by the devil, what is happening is you are now misaligned with God's will. And because Adam and Eve got misaligned with God's will, that is when they fell from grace. The fall from grace is they chose a free will path that was misaligned with their highest good. And if they had actually listened to God and continued on the journey related to what God is telling them to execute, then what will happen is, when you're taking the journey that God is asking you to execute, then you are going on the highest path possible for you, the best path possible for you. Because God, having the overarching picture of your life, the roadmap of your life that you do not have, God knows which roadmap, which path you take might be better. Like when, let's say in Google Maps, I want to go from point A to point B, and I'm looking at Google Maps and I'm wanting to go to from point A to point B, sometimes you will see Google Maps will give you 3 different paths. Now, let's say I lived in this city for many years, and in the past 20 years that I lived in this city, going from point A to point B was fastest when I was taking a route like ADC. Whereas in the Google Maps, it's showing me that instead of taking going the route from ADC, I should take another route which is AFC. So now Google Maps is saying go AFC. I have always been comfortable taking the ADC path. So my free will is telling me to take the ADC path. Whereas the AFC path is a path that the Google Map has calculated is the best and fastest route for you, possibly given the traffic conditions and other conditions that I don't know about that might be there in ADC route, that Google Maps might have a better view on, because they are doing what? They are looking at our maps, road maps via satellite. So satellite is also kind of like the overarching map guidance system, right? Because the satellite is able to see from outside the earth what is going on underground, that I just taking while being stationary on earth or driving a vehicle on earth, I do not know what road conditions are there, which the satellite knows. So like that, like how Google Maps is able to instruct us, now I can trust the Google Map. If I trust Google Maps, then I will take AFC route. If I don't trust Google Maps and I trust my own free will and my own knowledge of this road, I will take ADC. Now if that day Google Maps was indeed the best path was AFC, and ADC, there was a possibly an accident in ADC route that I don't know about, that is why it was telling me to take the AFC route, I will get stuck, right? So this is how divine guidance is also in our life. So there's a reason why God was telling Adam and Eve not to eat that forbidden tree's fruit. It's not that they were not meant to eat that forbidden tree's fruit ever. That's why when they ate it, there was they only fell from grace. But if they hadn't eaten it, it was just simply going to be that the year in which they have to eat it was possibly going to be another 10 years later, 20 years later, 100 years later, we don't know. That thing, God knows which is the year when they were actually meant to eat that fruit. But the devil wants to create chaos in people's lives, bring misery in people's lives. That's why the devil in the form of the serpent came and tempted them to consume that fruit sooner than they were supposed to consume it, or before their time they consumed it. And the fall from grace, that's why happens, because if you've consumed something before your time of consumption, it can ruin something in you. And this is the reason why this is also a lesson about going against the natural order of things. In certain things in life, sometimes people get misaligned in life when we are going against the natural order of things. In the natural order, while it is okay to continuously go on, keep choosing the same path we have always chosen in life. So while going ADC route every day is not a big deal most of the time. Sometimes you have to choose AFC route, AGC route. There are from point A to B, there could be, or A to C. I'm sorry, it became C suddenly, right? So this is also another thing. Like maybe I thought I'm supposed to go from point A to point B, but actually my final destination is not even B. My final destination is C. So I don't even know my final destination is supposed to be C. Like, has this sometimes happened to you? Like, you've been given, you're going for a job interview, they told you to go to a point B, and you are thinking you have to go to point B, but actually for some reason that interview place might have shifted. Maybe the company has shifted buildings, and while you got the interview appointment letter a month back, and in that letter they had said you have to go to point B, but on the day of the interview, because the company has moved locations, it's actually point C that you have to go to, and you might have received a text message about going to point C instead of B, but you didn't check your text messages. So for you, because you had looked at the interview letter from 1 month back and you printed that interview letter, you're still thinking you're supposed to go to point B. So this can also happen. Sometimes your final destination has changed, and when your destination has changed from B to C, even if you forget about it, God knows that you have to go to C and not B. So that could be another reason why, instead of taking the ADC route that you are used to taking, so it would have taken you from A, D to B and then C, which might be a longer route than A to F to B and C, or A to D to B and C. Those could have been a better route for you, and you didn't know it because you are focused on going to the point B, whereas God knows that finally you have to actually go to the point C and not the point B. So because of this reason also, when we surrender to God's will, that is the time when we get more aligned with our best path possible, easiest path possible, a path that is going to be less filled with misery, less filled with trouble, less filled with tiredness. Because let's say there was a traffic jam, there was a traffic accident, that could also cause you to delay. There could also be the fact that because you have to go to C, and C is closer to the point D than it is to the original path that you were taken. C is much further away from that original path. That's why going in the original path might be a problem now. So that can happen, right? So that's why when God is telling us to let go of something, not take a path that we are used to taking, leave a path that we are used to taking and shift our direction into a different direction, there is usually a higher purpose based reason. And when we surrender to God's will, it helps us stay aligned to that higher purpose path. And now, I said in the beginning of this video that I want to talk about the concept of fidelity and loyalty in a relationship. Now, I saw a video of a girl who's talking about her husband, after being married to her for years, suddenly told her that he was not finding her attractive, and they were presumably in a long-term marriage. That is what I figured. She didn't mention how long they had been married, but let's assume they were married for 5 years at least. Because what she said was, her husband said he's not attracted to her, and then he suggested that let's have an open marriage. And at the time of the open marriage, she agreed to it because possibly she loved him, I guess. So when she agreed to that open marriage, that guy started dating other women, and for 5 years he did that. And while he was doing that, initially she was very hurt by it, but she was not pursuing anyone. But one fine day she found someone she really liked, and she told that guy what was going on in her life, and that guy was ready to pursue her and date her. So at that time, when she tried to tell her husband about this new guy that she has met, her husband kept, and they shared children, so her husband kept doing things so that she couldn't get rid of the child caretaking things, and he would make her responsible for babysitting them or things like that, so that she couldn't go on her date with the guy she met. But eventually circumstances aligned such that she did end up going and dating this other guy, and she slept with the other guy, and for the first time she felt very alive in her life. Now that this guy has been dating other women for a few years, he was very jealous of that fact possibly, and then he wanted to get back to his wife. He slept with his wife again, and he said that he wants to continue their marriage like it was before. Now here is the path where questions related to fidelity, loyalty, true love, everything should come up in that girl's mind. Or if it genders were flipped, for an opposite gender also, these same questions should arise in their mind. Because if you have been in a long-term committed relationship with a partner, you share kids also with them, at that point of time when 5 or 10 years of marriage has happened, or 20 years of marriage has happened, at that time when you are feeling less attracted to the partner, this is the thing that I want people to examine about their relationship before they go and get tempted by this serpent of cheating. Because technically he has cheated, though he asked permission from her for an open marriage. 99% of the world doesn't want an open marriage. The reason why people get married to another person is so that they don't have to date other people, so that they don't have to focus on a dating life, so that they can focus on a married life instead, right? That is the whole purpose of being married to someone. You are wanting a one-on-one relationship. That's the real purpose. Now most people want that purpose, but there are some people who get tempted because for them marriage means access to sex, and if they are not sexually getting attracted to their partner, they start thinking that marriage is breaking down, or they want to look for that sex from other people. And this is where I want people to pause now and think about their relationship, that is marriage really supposed to be about sex? Because in Hinduism, if you follow Hinduism's practices, in Hinduism it is said that we have four parts of life that we have to lead when we are leading life on earth. In the first quarter of our life, we are leading a brahmacharya life, or a child's life. So in the first quarter of life, let's assume our normal life is 80 years life, average life. So in the first 20 years of your life, you're supposed to be like a child. So you're dependent on your parents, you're just focused on your studies, you're focused on building social relationships with your friends. That is what a child's life is supposed to be, not have the financial burdens in life, not have the adult responsibilities in life. Ideally, most people are meant to have that kind of a life until their 20s. And then from their early 20s to mid 40s, at that time, the next 22 years of their life, you are supposed to be leading a life of a married person. And in that life of a married person, in that marital life now, in general, you are meant to have the life of learning about marriage with another partner, learning about coexisting with another partner, bringing up children. And in those 20 years of life, possibly sex plays an important role in your life, because you engage in sex to have kids, you engage in sex to build a compatible relationship with your partner, and all those things happen. And while certain things are happening in your married life, certain things are also happening in your professional life. Then in the next 20 years of your life, when your children are now adults, it is time for them to get married. And while they are getting married, it is time for you to do what? It is time for you to slowly start retiring from certain things in your life, right? That's why only in our 60s in many countries is the retirement age. Because by your 60s, in that next 40 to 60 years of age of your life, or let's say 45 to 65 years of age, because it is going to be a little bit of a floating thing for most of us, because some of us might live till 80 years of age, some of us might live till 90 or 100 years of age. So this age range distribution of your life, everyone will experience this kind of a shift in their life's paradigm, depending on how long a life they are potentially going to lead. So for some people in their for mid 40s only, they might start thinking about their kids getting married now, or things like that, whereas some person's children might be only 10 years old when they are in their mid 40s. If their children are only 10 years old when you are in your mid 40s, maybe in your mid 50s or 60s you are meant to start thinking about your children's future. So whatever it is between, like, let's say 45 to 65 years of age, some people are wrapping down on the work they are doing. Like, you will not be as highly, many people, not everyone I will say, but in general, if you're meant to live life till 80, then in general in your mid 40s, late 40s, you will start wanting to wind down a little bit of the things that you were doing in your professional life, in your home life. Your children will start becoming independent from you. They are starting to explore their life as early adults or teens, and all these shifts and changes are starting to happen. Why that shift and change is happening? So that if your children are becoming more independent, you, or maybe a woman who is a housewife, might need to wind down a little bit on the dependency on their children. Now they might need to focus more on their health, because then women also will experience menopause and health issues, so they're meant to focus on their own physical health. Possibly they're meant to focus on also building a relationship with a spouse, but because they are hitting menopause now, that relationship actually is meant to be not about sex but about other elements of their relationship as well. So this is another thing people are supposed to do from mid 40s to mid 60s. You might wind down in the sex life, you might wind down in your dependency on your children, or the children are not going to be as dependent on you, so less responsibility towards children's life will be there for you. If you're working in an office, you might be in a higher position in an office, so that you start delegating some of the hard working, back-breaking work starts getting done by the lower junior workers, whereas you're doing more of the intellectual work. And you might get promoted in your office, and you might have a lot of office responsibilities. Women might have health responsibilities. So all these different things will shape up in your 40s to 60s. And then as you're going towards your late 60s or early 60s, depending on the country you live in, the workforce you have joined, you will also start now looking towards retirement. And in that retirement phase now, in Hinduism, earlier it was told, and many other of the practices of Hinduism were guided towards only man's outlook for life. So in that man's outlook for life, it was told that in the last quarter of your life, you are meant to withdraw from all sansarik moh and maya. So basically you're meant to become like a ascetic or a brahmacharya life has to be led. So in that last quarter of your life, you should not be focused on sex, you should not be focused on sexually connecting with your partner. If you are still married, sex shouldn't be the important part of your life. At that time, spirituality should become your next part of your life. And the reason for spirituality becoming the last quarter of your life has to be about spirituality is because at that time, if you become spiritual, you are connecting more towards God, because God is actually at that time helping you wind down from your socioeconomic responsibilities as a man attached to the people you are attached to. So if you your children might right now at that point of time be married themselves, some of your children might have kids, some of your children might be busy with their work life, all the financial responsibilities of your life should be now taken over by your children slowly. So in the last quarter of your life, slowly while you were in the first 60 years of your life paying for everything financially for your family, towards the last quarter of your life, slowly you have to wind down the financial responsibilities, and your children have to wind up their financial responsibilities towards the parents. This is what ideally it should be happening. Whether it happens globally is a different thing, but either that should be happening, or whatever financial responsibilities you have, you don't have any more financial obligation towards your children and grandchildren. All your obligation should be towards them, more about love, more about spirituality, more about having a emotional bonding with them than about the financial sansarik moh maya related bonding with them. The higher level of love has to start developing between you and those children and grandchildren of your life. Same way with your spouse also, a higher level of love has to develop, and in order for that higher level of love to develop, that's why only women start getting menopause in their 50s. Earlier women used to get it in their 50s and 60s. Nowadays it has shifted a little to 40s, but ideally you should be getting it in your 50s and 60s, because that is when slowly your attachment to sex should be coming down in your marriage. So in your 50s and 60s, early, let's say the woman is going to start hitting menopause, slowly she will reject also wanting to have sex with you. So if she is rejecting wanting to have sex, or after she hits menopause she doesn't want to have so much sex, there's a reason behind it. Biologically, a woman's body has shifted into not wanting sex after they hit menopause, or craving for sex goes down a little bit in women, is because the relationship is meant to be now at a spiritual level, emotional level, more than it is meant to be at a physical sexual level. And this is why only if anyone in their marriage after 20-30 years of marriage, 5-10 years of marriage also, when your sexual drive for your partner has gone down, many people start becoming insecure when their sexual drive for their partner has gone down, or their partner's sexual desire for them has gone down, not realizing that one or the other partner whose sexual desire has gone down, if your relationship is truly a healthy and meaningful relationship and is aligned in the path of God's journey for your life as a couple with each other, then if you are in alignment with God's path for your life, if you're in alignment with this 4 quarters of life phase, and you are in a healthy alignment with these 4 quarters of life phase, then you will understand that sexual desire should be less. You shouldn't be focused on only sex at a particular point of time in your life. So if you're a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, if you do not feel sexually attracted to your spouse, that is a healthy thing. People don't realize it, but it is a healthy thing, because at that point of time, instead of focusing on the sexual desire towards each other, you are possibly meant to focus on having a warmth filled, love filled connection, the higher love filled connection that is beyond sex. The love that is a love that doesn't include sex, but it is a love that is more stable, because even without sex, that love is able to take care of each other in a way you are meant to take care of each other at a particular point of time in your life. But the devil will come into the picture when we we do not understand this is the aligned path for us, that in our 50s or 60s we are meant to slowly wind down on the sexual intimacy aspect of a relationship. That earlier, when in your 20s or 40s you were having sex once a week, twice a week, whatever is the duration you are having sex with your spouse, if that duration has gone down, instead in your 40s and 50s now you're having sex only once a month, it is a healthy thing. But it is a healthy thing when both partners are in alignment, when both partners understand that this is the higher purpose of their relationship, when both partners realize that even without sex they love each other, when both partners are able to caretake each other in the best way possible for each other, that is when you are in a aligned, balanced, healthy relationship with each other. Whereas in this couple's case that I discussed, where the husband wants to now have sex with other people, he's completely got misaligned. He doesn't understand that as a 40-year-old, 50-year-old, he shouldn't be focused on other women, because if he really loved his wife, even if he is not feeling sexually now attracted towards her, that was his opportunity to find out what else does he find attractive about her. Is it just about the fact that she is giving him sex that keeps their marriage going, or does their marriage have a merit because she takes care of his kids, because she loves his kids, because she cooks his favorite meals for him, because she loves him in other ways in which that she shows her love other than sex? So this is what was the reason why he felt unattractive towards her. But when he felt unattractive towards her, and God deliberately will do it also, God will test you in that way, that they will make your partner seem unattractive towards you. Like for some reason, while earlier you were finding your partner to be like a angel of like a apsara like thing, while that was how you used to perceive your partner when the partner was in your 30s or something. In your 30s or 20s, you used to love your partner as if like you have found an angel in your life. But in your 40s or 50s, that angelic perspective about your partner has shifted. Maybe you have fights with each other for some reason. Maybe the partner gained weight. Maybe the partner is hitting menopause, and that's why also when you are hitting menopause, your estrogen levels are low. So or your hormonal levels are going to start shifting in your body. So because your hormonal levels are shifting, hormonal imbalance could be happening with your spouse for some disease that might be manifesting in their body. That is also another reason why you will not find your partner attractive, because if you find your partner attractive, you want to have sex with them, but let's say your partner is going to have a disease like cancer or some hormonal imbalance that is going to cause them to have mood swings and other problems in their life in their 50s. And at that point of time, your true metal of your love was going to be tested by God in the way in which you deal with your partner when they are hormonal, you deal with your partner when they are sick, you deal with your partner when they are going to have cancer. Are you able to caretake them? Are you able to treat them nicely? Are you able to do all those things? Maybe for 20-30 years of their marriage, the partner has been doing for you a lot of loving and caretaking gestures towards you. Are you now able to caretake your partner in that same way? Are you able to take care of their health when they have cancer? Are you able to focus on your partner beyond sex to take care? Because will someone who has cancer in their body and their whole body is aching and hurting with the pain of the cancer, are they going to be able to focus on having sex with you, or do they want the relief from the pain? And that relief from the pain, will that relief from the pain come when they have sex with someone, or will it come when someone hugs them, someone takes care of them like a child is being taken care of? That level of caretaking is needed by a cancer patient. But if you're not able to take care of that cancer patient at that level, and you are focused more now on having sex with other people, yeah, it is possible that their future cancer will not happen, or their cancer might get pushed a little, or whatever else was going to manifest didn't manifest, but or they are still going to be sick, but they will be hiding their sickness from you, and instead you have now done what? You have added to the grief of the partner by wandering around and sleeping with other women, and you are not focused on your partner. So completely, you ignored your partner in the most direst phase of their life, where they were wanting your help, needing your care and caretaking, but you are not able to provide it to them, right? So this is the reason why you get these opportunities or these challenges of life, where something different will manifest in your life than what you were doing in the first 20-30 years of your marriage, or first 10 years of your marriage. But in that time phase when you were meant to come closer to each other, but you instead created a rift and now created a barrier in the relationship. Now after 5 years, if she has found another man who makes her feel better, who is treating her more respectfully, who possibly understands also all the pain that she is going through, then is it were you responsible for breaking your good marriage, or is she responsible for it? And more than were you responsible, did you allow the serpent of good and evil? Do you see how the serpent of came and gave you a forbidden knowledge? What was the forbidden knowledge that the serpent gave you? The serpent gave you the forbidden knowledge that if you are not feeling attracted to your partner, you can have an open marriage, because there are other people in the world who have open marriage. So your free will, it is your free will choice. If you don't want to be with your partner, ask your partner. And they gave you a manipulative clause against loyalty. And the manipulative clause was, because this is also disloyalty and infidelity, it's just a manipulative way of saying that I want to be disloyal to you by asking the partner permission to go and have sex with another person. In reality, no partner who truly loves you will want you to have sex with someone else. But if they are allowing you to also have sex with someone else, that is where your test of free will was there, that even if your partner allows you to have sex with someone else, should you really take that forbidden fruit? And this is how you actually fall from grace. This is the real life example of how a man falls from grace, when a temptation of a forbidden fruit was given to them. And it was a forbidden fruit that if you want a truly loyal marriage, a truly deeply love filled marriage, you are meant to evolve in your marriage in a way aligned with God's path for evolution of a marriage. But you went misaligned with God's path for evolution of your marriage, and because you went in a misaligned path for God's evolution of a marriage, you fell from grace of your own marriage. If your marriage had grace, your marriage would have become even more graceful, even more beautiful, even more evolved, if at the time point when the partner was having some physical health issues or looking not beautiful to you, looking less attractive to you, what is it beyond their physical beauty that you were supposed to appreciate? Maybe for some people it could simply be that they were just meant to appreciate the fact that despite the partner looking very ugly to them or less attractive to them, what else is it about their partner that they love about their partner? For some it could be that lesson. For some it could be the lesson that after you've gotten over the fact that you don't find your partner physically attractive at all, what is it you can do to bring back the attractiveness in your marriage? Is it just the partner that is supposed to always, like, this is also another standard typical thing that men do in a marriage, that they assume that the woman only always has to look attractive in a marriage. But what about the man? What are you doing to stay attractive? Are you doing everything to stay attractive, or is it just the woman's job to constantly keep upgrading her looks for enticing the man? The man also, it could have been the time point of their marriage where the man was supposed to now do something attractive. And for a man to be attractive to a woman, it is not about, how dashing you look, how handsome you look. Sometimes it can be about that, but many a times for many marriages, at least, if you have been married for 10-20 years, for most women it doesn't matter how attractive your partner looks, but in the good look scale of the top 100, how women's and men's magazine have the top 100 good looking people of the world and blah blah blah, but it is not about the you being considered amongst the top 10 good looking people in her life, but it is about the attractiveness that happens to most women about their partners is how considerate is their partner, how caretaking is their partner, whether the partner is a true provider in the relationship. And the provider's role comes in a relationship. If you are a father, are you a good father to your kids? Are you a good protector of the women's rights? If the woman is getting, abused by someone, are you supportive of the woman when she's getting abused by someone? Are you caretaking your spouse when the spouse is falling sick? Are you listening to your spouse when the spouse says certain thing needs to be done and you don't realize why it needs to be done, but if you did it, it would bring some peace and joy in your spouse's life? Or if you had asked some question before you wanted to do something that you found ridiculous, why is my wife telling me to do something ridiculous? But if you had actually done it, maybe you would have seen why it is not ridiculous or why it is important. But after doing it, because sometimes, some action needs to be taken first before explanation can be given. For example, like, let's say there's going to be a fire in your area, and now you don't know that a forest fire is going to happen. No one knows that a forest fire is going to happen in your background area somewhere. But for some reason, the wife got intuitively guided that we need to buy some 5 liters of water and keep them in stock in our garage. She doesn't know why she was given that guidance, but she said we just need 5 liters of water, buy like 5 gallons of 5 of these 5-gallon water bottles and keep them in our garage. I've read somewhere that earthquakes are happening in this area, so let's keep this for our safety sake. For some reason, she gives you some ridiculous reason which you find very ridiculous. Why should I? Usually you buy only 1 gallon of water from the store, but this day she said you have to buy 10 bottles, 5 bottles or something. You didn't want to listen to her, but if you had listened to her, what will happen? While she couldn't give you the explanation why this extra water is needed, or if she gave you the explanation also, you still find it ridiculous, but you still nonetheless went and now brought those bottles of water. What does it show in the relationship? That you trust your spouse. Second thing is you trust your spouse's judgment. Third thing is you trusting your spouse's judgment without judging her for the thing that she's asking you to bring. And then eventually, if you have trusted in all these levels, the real reason why she's asking you to do this will become clearer to you when that earthquake or forest fire actually happens. Because if that earthquake happened and then your local store has destroyed, now you don't have good clean water supply, or your water supply has got destroyed and you don't have good clean water in your home, that's why you needed those 5 gallons of water. Or if forest fire was happening, and that fire was happening actually maybe a couple of kilometers away from your home, but it still hit a little bit corner of your home's gardens, then this extra water was needed for you to bring down the small degree of fire that happened. Something in anticipation of the future, God has guided her to do it. Why? Because sometimes God will test you this way also, that in general, though men think that they are meant to be the leaders about shaping where the relationship should go in the future, the reality is, in a truly balanced relationship between partners, sometimes the man will take the lead, and sometimes in some places the women will be taking the lead. And in understanding, in assigning your roles to each other, of where the man has to take the lead, where the woman has to take a lead, what is essentially required is trust of each other, and understanding where the man should take the lead, and understanding where the woman should take the lead. And if all the time you are considering the judgment of your partner to be ridiculous, or the intuition of your partner to be stupid or futile, then you are not in a balanced partnership, because you will never be aligned only in understanding where you should take a lead, and aligned in understanding where your partner should be taking a lead, and which will create an imbalanced relationship if a husband always is wanting to take the lead and never allows the wife to take the lead, or vice versa, or a relationship occurs where majority of the times only one partner is allowed to take the lead. That is when the relationship is a misaligned relationship, imbalanced relationship, not aligned, in alignment with God. Because God's purpose is to give you a relationship where both partners have equal responsibility, equal leadership qualities, or equitable leadership and responsibility qualities. And it is irrespective of who is the breadwinner of the family, who is the more attractive or socially acceptable partner, who is a better looking partner, who is a more admirable partner in the world's eye. None of this matters to God. What matters more to God is the direction in which the relationship will be going, the direction in which the God wants to take the relationship towards. But a good balanced relationship can't go towards a relationship of good balance unless the man trusts the wife for even ridiculous things, and unless the wife also trusts the husband for certain things that she considers about him to be ridiculous. Or essentially, what you consider as ridiculous, maybe you have to shed the notion of what you are considering to be ridiculous as having some meaning for their future, which you will only find out. That is the mystery of life, that what you considered in the past to be ridiculous may not be ridiculous at all in the future, but that path will open for you when you are ready to allow your partner to take the lead in certain places, when you are ready to let go of the belief system that what you find ridiculous is actually not ridiculous. You let it go, that this is not ridiculous, there is some meaning behind it. I just don't know what is the meaning behind this thing that I'm finding initially to be funny. Now, if you're ready to let go of your past belief systems, shed some rigidly held belief systems, that is when your fluid merging of a good balanced relationship will progress. And if you're not able to let go, if you continuously keep holding this paradigm that I find this ridiculous and this is ridiculous and that's it, you will never be able to merge lives with a partner who has a different perspective, the partner who is meant to come to your life to give you a different perspective. Because the reason why two people exist with each other as partners is not because of sex, but is because they are meant to merge two divergent views into one middle path of living. So if and that merged one mergeable path of living based on two belief systems, first, clashing is not a problem. There could be two belief systems that could be clashing, but a aligned, balanced, merged relationship occurs where the two clashing belief systems are able to shed some of the things that are not working anymore in the modern world and take it towards a new way of living, which has now merged to divergent belief systems, to slightly different ways of living, to vastly different ways of living and thinking, towards something that is more aligned and merged and beautiful and in alignment with God's destiny for that relationship, and also in alignment with God's destiny for that relationship to occur in the modern world, given the considerations of the modern world. Because while we love to stay and hold on to things from our past, think about it. In the past, if men had not let go of the belief system that women can do certain work in the workplace, would we have had a very different earth now if in the last 100 years women had not entered the workforce of many different areas? Right? Because women started entering certain workforce areas, there were shifts and changes in those workforce areas that were possible in those workforce areas, and wouldn't have happened if women had not entered, and it wouldn't have happened if men who had allowed these women to enter those workforce areas hadn't allowed the entry of those women. Right? So you had to let go of the past belief system, right, that women didn't used to work outside the home, and that was a belief system of 200-300 years back, when women didn't used to work outside the home. Women were only stuck in doing home caretaking activities. And because now that shift has happened, and because now women have entered the workforce, now the opposite shift has also happened, where there are so many men who do not want to enter the workforce, or who like doing many home caretaking activities. So there are men who love doing cooking and cleaning and all these activities, and now that's why it's more acceptable for them to do those activities while the women are entering the workforce. And this shift was necessary for a reason, and this alignment was necessary for a future reason, the future reason which we will possibly not reap the benefits of until another 30, 40, 50 years have passed. But until those 30, 40, 50 years have passed, do the shifts still have to keep happening? But that shift can only happen when a man is ready to understand that he's better off if he lives and does some home caretaking activities, when a woman is more ready to understand that for her not to do the home caretaking activity might be better, her to do the outside home activities might be more fruitful, and if that man and women now are joining lives together with each other, that would be better for them. So same way with sex also, there's another reason why sex is not as important in this century, is because we have 8 billion population on earth. So not that everyone has stopped going to be interested in sex, or everyone will be taken off the bandwagon of sex. That's not what the purpose is, but the purpose is that the percentage of population who are not interested in sex, there are certain percentage of population who are born currently with asexual or demisexual criteria in them, and if you are asexual, you will not have sexual inclination towards another partner. But that doesn't mean that you don't deserve a partner in a relationship. It simply means you have to find a partner who is also asexual like you, with whom you are not going to be interested in sex, because your life partnership with each other will not be about sex, but will be instead about doing something else in the world. That is the purpose for you to be born asexual. Someone who is demisexual is going to be demisexual because they want first the emotional connectivity in a relationship. They want to build something in a relationship first before a relationship progresses into the sexual zone. So now those relationships are going to be very tough if someone is demisexual and their partner is hypersexual or very much interested in sex. That is going to be a misaligned partnership. So obviously in this relationship now, whatever the reason why the husband cheated, there is another reason why the God will bring these temptations in our life also. One is to test whether you are truly in alignment with God's path for your journey. So if it was a very quality relationship, it was a testing time for a quality relationship to go show to God whether you are moving in a quality relationship direction with each other, and that's why this wrench was put in their relationship. But let's say it was not a quality relationship. Let's say it was a relationship filled with emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, or something like that. So was it a good thing then for the wife if the husband was sexually abusive towards her or emotionally abusive towards her. Obviously, if someone is very abusive towards you, you will see slowly you will not want your partner to touch you. So if I do not want my partner to touch me because my partner is very sexually abusive towards me, it is a good thing for me if my partner starts viewing me as unattractive. Because if my partner now starts viewing me as unattractive, I also do not want my partner to touch me. So for that reason also, if it was a very bad quality relationship, it was a mercy for her if her partner has started now cheating with other people. Because now after that, while in the first 5 years while he was sleeping with other women, she was observing now what is the value of her relationship with him. And after figuring out that value of her relationship with him, if she has enough personal power to understand that she is valuable and this relationship is not working for her, that 5 years was given to her to slowly release all the emotional attachment she might have had with her partner, so that now she can move on from a toxic relationship. And that is also another reason why sometimes the snake will come and tempt you in the evil comes into your life, because already evil was present in your life, enough darkness was there in your marriage that God also knows that this marriage should end. So that time also darkness will come in your marriage, even more darker phase will come to push you towards leaving a toxic relationship, push you towards leaving a misaligned or harmful relationship, so that you can move towards a better quality relationship in the future. So I hope this was meaningful. So understand, for different reasons, infidelity or these open marriage kind of situation, or your husband or spouse or partner not being up to alignment with you in the higher evolutionary path of your marriage, if all of these scenarios are playing in your marriage, playing in your long-term relationships, there's always a higher purpose for it playing like that. When you connect to God, when you connect to your own soul needs, when you connect to the fact that what is it that you truly want from a deep meaningful relationship, if you answer those questions within yourself, then it is easier to understand why a certain thing unfolded in your life. It is easier to handle the rough challenging phases related to such infidelity or such toxicity arising in your marriage. And then it is also easier to understand next then if you bring God into your equation, to understand whether you should continue in such toxic marriages, whether it is fair for you to if it was a quality marriage in the past and it is a workable marriage, you can maybe work it. But if it wasn't a quality marriage, if it doesn't fit your criteria for what a quality marriage should look like, what a aligned, balanced, harmonious marriage or loving marriage should look like, then take the steps towards leaving the marriage, even if it has been a 20-30-year-old marriage, even if it is going to be very difficult journey to be alone without a partner. Sometimes it might be not that difficult as you are thinking it was going to be, and sometimes despite the difficulties, what will emerge at the end of the difficulties would be much more beautiful than what you had when you were stuck in a toxic or badly aligned or less love filled or no love filled marriage. I hope this was informative. Anyone has questions, comments, wants to share their life journey, please feel free to comment. Thank you very much. Have a great day.